My name is Fiona Wardman and I am the HAI Chief Regional Patient Advocate and the Regional Patient Advocate for Asia Pacific, and I would like to welcome you to the discussion with the HAI Regional Patient Advocates. Given we were not able to meet in Frankfurt for the global conference, we wanted to be able to share with you the fantastic work being done by the RPAs. The HAI Regional Patient Advocates are the backbone of HAI International. In countries where there is no or low HAE knowledge, no means for advocacy, limited resources and little awareness of HAE, the RPA creates an advocacy voice, a physician network, and provides a path to access modern HAE treatments. For countries with existing and well-established patient groups, the RPA provides collective knowledge, assistance, information, and resources. Just before we start the discussion, I would like to invite each of the RPAs to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Natasha Angeleska, and I'm a regional patient advocate for the countries in Southeastern Europe.
Hi, I'm Fernanda de Oliveira Martins, and I'm RPA for South America and Mexico.
Hello, my name is Michał Rutkowski, and I'm responsible for Central East Europe, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Middle East, and Gulf countries.
Hi, my name is Patricia Karani. I am the Regional Patient Advocate taking care of Sub-Saharan Africa.
Hi, I'm Javier Santana, and I'm RPA for Central America and Caribbean.
Hello, my name is Maria Ferron, and I'm the RPA for Mediterranean and North African countries.
During the introduction, I mentioned that the RPAs work with patient organisations. Maria, can you tell us why patient organisations are important?
So from my point of view, patient organizations or patient groups are important because it's the first step to come all together and be able to advocate to improve the quality of life of the patient and their families. Also, I think these groups and organizations are really important to provide to our community emotional and practical support, a source of information, and somewhere to get advice.
Thank you, Maria. We've all seen time and time again the difference a patient group can make. Javier, in countries where there is no patient group, how do you identify and motivate a patient or a family member to become a patient lead and possibly start a patient group?
Okay. So I contact physicians to let them know that we as an organization, we have some group of patients around the world. To motivate patients, I share with them some successful stories from other groups around the world, and I let them know that they are not alone. So as an international organization, we have the tools to help them to fight to access to treatment in their countries.
Yes, it takes just one person to be brave to take on the challenge to create the awareness. Speaking about awareness, can I ask you, Patricia, what does awareness mean to you and how can awareness be created?
Awareness to me means being knowledgeable about hereditary angioedema, going down to being able to know the differences between hereditary angioedema and other types of angioedema. And this basically can be brought about via working with doctors through doctor awareness seminars and workshops, as well as using the social media or media, the TV media or newspaper media to educate and the public and anyone else who would be interested in knowing about the condition, and let them know that the condition is there, it is on the ground, and this actually helps to know the severity of the condition. So that to me is what awareness is.
There are some great examples from Kenya on how working with knowledgeable doctors and patients can make such a difference. We've talked about creating awareness, but what about advocacy? Mikhail, can you explain what advocacy means and share with us how advocacy improved a situation within your region?
To answer the question of what advocacy means to me, I must first explain who I believe is the patient advocate. Thus, an advocate is one who pleads the cause of another, the one who advocates for patient rights or supports and assists in obtaining fullness of rights. The advocate takes an active role in her, his healthcare, effectively communicates and asks questions. So advocacy to me is to support HAE patients and their families in best possible manner by dedicating my time, educating about the disease, indicating potential pathways to achieve set goals, introducing valuable tools and projects, networking, motivating, so that at the end of the day, HAE patients increase their quality of life. When we started RPA program in 2016, in CE region, most countries did not have a patient organization and often also acted as individuals. I can proudly say that today, HAE Central East Europe member organizations have own associations or patient groups, are motivated to make a change, and do take active measures and communication to introduce positive changes. I have a privilege to work with absolutely amazing and compassionate people who are an incredible inspiration to me.
Thanks, Mikhail. RPAs have helped gain access to modern treatments in countries in their regions by providing knowledge, establishing partnerships, and providing resources and support. In my region, Asia Pacific, there's been great success in advocating for modern HAE therapies, which provides a really good quality of life for patients. Our role as RPAs can be challenging at times, especially when we are moving into new countries in a region. In my region, my biggest personal challenge has been the language barrier. Many countries have cultural challenges which make it a little bit more difficult for patients to speak out and advocate for themselves. Fernanda, your region is South America and Mexico. Can you share what has been the biggest challenge in your region?
Yeah, so first of all, it's also important to know a bit more about this region. So in my region, we speak two types of languages, so Portuguese in Brazil and Spanish in the rest of the countries. And this region, it's known by its natural beauties, but is also known by its social inequality. So it means that there are some people very wealthy, and but the majority of the population has very little resources. This, of course, has big impact on the type of access people have to health assistance. Our developing countries also have big political issues, as the situation we are now seeing in Venezuela. So when it comes to government support, it's also very difficult, since there are not much resource for rare disease and buying high-cost medicine. So this also causes lower interest from pharmaceutical companies in the region. This means that HAE patients here can face very much difficulties in have access to modern therapies. So the main challenge in my region, I think, it's the access indeed to the treatment.
Many countries around the world, even rich ones, still struggle with accessing modern treatments. But for your region, Patricia, you have some other unique and large challenges. Would you like to share those with us, please?
Yes, sure. So my region is vast, not just in square kilometers, but also in terms of culture. There are over 400 different kinds of culture, spreading all the way from West Africa down to South Africa. And the differences in culture, of course, bring a barrier. Most of the African communities, they don't believe in giving birth to a child who has a rare condition. So if you're a child who has a rare condition, you're ostracized or you're set aside by the community or you're even killed. So these are very vast cultures, and it becomes quite a challenge to break this social cultures. Apart from that, we also have the knowledge amongst doctors. So what happens in the region is that the doctors normally concentrate on common conditions rather than on rare conditions. So you find not a lot of research or education is put in rare conditions. So that is why we do a lot of advocacy and awareness in the region. And also another probably major challenge is for patients being able to access hospitals because of the vast terrain and also the socioeconomic capabilities of some of these patients who prefer to stay at home rather than use the little money they have to go and seek for further medical assistance or further medical studies or research.
Despite all the challenges that there have been in your region, there has been a success with access to treatment in South Africa. Can you tell us how that came about?
So South Africa is a success story for me because the difference between South Africa and most of these other countries is that there were doctors who were already knowledgeable and already conducting research and studies amongst patients who had hereditary angioedema. So with that, we were able to identify a patient representative who is able to bring together all these people who are spread out in different parts of South Africa. And that came about, and she was able to bring together the patients, and then we were able to get the support of these doctors so that they can be able to work hand in hand with the patient group to raise awareness and to also make it one of their obligations to try and identify patients who are living with hereditary angioedema in South Africa. So moving forward with that, another great success was that the patients were able to access modern medication, which is naturally not available in our region, through the Global Access Program. So this is a program where physicians show interest through going to the HAE website and requesting for these medications through the Global Access Program for their patients. So this to me has been a great success. Very proud of it.
It's fantastic that patients now have access to modern treatment in South Africa. And there's more information available on the hai.org website about the GAP program. Maria, you have recently taken on a new region being North Africa. Can you talk us through the challenges of a new region and also within the countries, the challenges that they face and how you're working to overcome these challenges?
Well, this region has many challenges, but I just will quote some of them that in this region, there is none of the countries have access to HAE modern therapies. Another challenge is that the knowledge on HAE is really small, that make us really difficult to locate also new patients. And diagnosis is really poor. Sometimes in some of these countries, they have to send overseas their tests. And then one of my personal challenge in this region mainly is the language barrier, but working with the patients and caregivers, I have managed to create active communication. But even though all this challenge we are facing in the country, we have managed to bring together patients and caregivers to start working together on HAE and raise awareness. And at this stage, we have managed to create two organizations in Morocco and Algeria.
You had a recent success with holding a regional patient meeting that you organised and held in Algeria. Can you tell us about that meeting?
Yeah, it was a great meeting. I was a bit worried because it was just before all this crisis with coronavirus, and I was really worried I couldn't organize it. But at the end, we managed, and I was also worried that many patients and caregivers and doctors were not going to attend due to they were going to be scared on coronavirus. But at the end, I think everyone understood that the importance to be able to go to this meeting, and at the end we end up with 80 participants from Mauritania, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and Libya. From those 80 attendees, 18 were doctors and 62 were patients and caregivers. It was 1 day and a half meeting. On the first day, HAE introduced who we are and a bit of a global overview of us. And we talk a bit of the importance of rare diseases organizations, and the doctors introduce a bit themselves. And during the second day, each country, during the morning, each country presented the current situation of HAE on their country. And in the afternoon, we split the meeting into a patient workshop and a scientific track. I was part on the patient workshop. All the patients were trying to show their experience, their concerns, their worries. But at the end, I think everyone was really happy with the meeting, and it created a really nice and collaborative atmosphere to push working all together to improve quality for everyone.
Bringing people together to share ideas and learn is really powerful. And Natasha, you have held quite a few regional meetings along with other types of meeting and events. What has been the most successful?
So yes, I have initiated and organized 4 regional meetings from 2016 until now. And I can't distinguish which one was better than the other, because all had a unique experience for me and for the participants as well. But there is one event that was close to, is still close to my heart, and it occupies all my emotions. It was an event that we organized in Macedonia, in Skopje, in the city park. It was a puppet show. We decided that children's peers, children who suffer HAE and their peers from kindergarten and schools, are as important to be aware of somebody that is living a challenging life. So we have organized an informal gathering with a fun event that was this puppet show. Based on a story about a rare boy and a talkative balloon. So it was really educational, but it was also interactive. So children could ask questions to the puppeteer, and there was an interaction between the participants, the children with HAE, and all of us, the adults around. What was really interesting that it attracted a huge media interest. So media were present and reported about the event and interviewed me, because the story, the puppet show was based upon a story that I wrote about my son with HAE and the challenges we go in everyday activities. So this actually inspired me to go further, and to this year we found an animator who is doing a storybook based on this story, and I'm writing 2 more stories. But what is unique is that we are going to translate these stories in all of the languages in the countries that are spoken in my region, and English as well. So we can make it available to all others who are interested to share it on social media, on media, or wherever they like. Because we believe that children are really important to be acquainted with enough knowledge, empathy, and acceptance by their friends, so they don't feel excluded from the community. So this event helped in that regard, and I hope that it will be successful furthermore when we have these picture books to share.
I'm always impressed with the creative ways you create awareness in your region. It's really impressive. Mikhail, you have held many regional meetings in your region. Can you tell us about those meetings and why they're important?
First of all, thank you for your kind words, Fiona. Indeed, we started organizing regional workshops back in 2016, and since we've successfully held 4 editions. And each time, patients, caregivers, healthcare professionals enthusiastically participated in those meetings, learning about hereditary angioedema from top scientists and physicians in the world, also talking about advocacy issues, what we can do in our region to make things better and provide our patients better quality of life. Obviously, HAE is a rare condition, rare disorder, so lots of people doesn't have a chance to discuss their condition, to discuss their concerns and issues with others. So to see exchange with the people is really valuable. Nowadays, 15 countries from Central East Europe, HAEI member organizations participate, advocate, empower each other collectively and create connections. That is why the importance of this meeting is significant and no doubts about it.
I was able to see firsthand last year how well these meetings are run, and the participation from the countries is really great. And that was in both the Central Eastern Europe region and also Southeastern Europe. Another type of meeting that the RPAs organise is a gathering of the member organisation leads. And Fernanda, you held a meeting in Bogota, Colombia last year. Could you share with us what that meeting was all about?
Yes, definitely. So in my region, South America and Mexico, it's very important the close contact, the face-to-face meetings, you know, to establish a good quality relationship. So that's why we have decided to organize a face-to-face meeting with the leaders of the patient groups from each country. So as was said already for some of us, sometimes the leaders needs more inspiration to continue doing the job. So that's why we decided to work with them for this meeting specifically. So before the meeting, all the leaders have done a pre-work, which included gathering the main information from their countries regarding to expert physicians, approved therapies, and the main needs of their patients. Then we went for a 2 days face-to-face meeting in Bogota, Colombia. And in the meeting, we had you and also some of the other HAEI leadership. So we had great discussions on, for example, HAEI tools and how to overcome difficulties that the group might face. And also we shared a lot of experience between us. So by the end of the meeting, the leaders had a work plan for the coming months. And besides all the hard work that we have done there, the meeting was very inspiring and also was very useful to strengthen the relationship of the group.
It was really great to get everybody together in Bogota and see how motivated and committed the leaders of the organisations were. We discussed earlier what advocacy and awareness means and how the media is a useful platform. Javier, you've worked with the media in your region. Can you tell us from your experience what the best way and what the benefits are with working with the media?
Well, the media, they are looking for news stories every day. They are looking for about problems that the citizens have in different countries. So I train or motivate HAE patients in my region to use the media as a vehicle to create more awareness, to educate the people about HAE. The use of the media is a powerful way to influence in policymakers to get access to new medicines or treatments. One of the powerful strategies that I use with the patients is to recommend that use the help of physicians when they visit the medias for interviews, because it's more powerful when you use their stories and how they explain how the disease works.
The media is a great resource to get the message out to a lot more people. HAI has resources and tools for patient organisations to help with all sorts of things. We have free website hosting with ready-made templates. We have HAI Connect, which is a member database tool. It's compliant with the general data protection regulations. It's not just a member database. It also enables you to send out newsletters and emails to all of your patients or just a certain patient set. We have emergency cards in different languages on the HAI website, and you can download them from there and print them. We're coming up to HAE Day, and there is a whole website dedicated to helping you celebrate our Global Awareness Day. There's lots of information, templates, tools, and how to engage the media, organise an event, and so forth. More information can be found on the haeday.org website. From there, you can also add your steps to the Global Walk. Fernanda, with all the resources HAI has to give to the patient groups, which ones have been the most useful in your region so far?
Yeah, so in my region, the patient groups actually appreciate a lot of our resources, but some of them that they are using is the website hosting and also the emergency card. I think those are the two most used here.
Along with the resources and tools that we just spoke about, there are some new initiatives that HAI has introduced. One of them is the regional advisory groups. Natasha, could you tell us a little bit more about this and why this is important? And it's an important initiative for all member organisations in all countries.
Yes, the regional advisory groups are starting this year with their first meetings, but actually this was a joint decision that each member organization did to have some changes in the statute of the International HAE organization. And it was agreed that these regional advisory groups will be established in the regions in which RPAs operate. So I think that it's very important that we do have this kind of groups, because it enables us to hear from each country what are the challenges, how can we assist, and to hear some initiatives that can be further implemented by the global HAE community. It was interesting that we have our first meeting this year early in April for the Southeastern Europe country, and we did held this meeting with most of the community. So each country nominated an advisor that will be present in all future meetings of the RAG group. And then we have had the opportunity to exchange a bit more about the current situation with the pandemic and how our patients get access to medications in different countries. what are the challenges and how can we rely on each other in these difficult times. But it was also very important to hear how are we going to plan about our joint initiatives. Generally, we discussed most about the HAE Day, which is on May 16. So each of the country had an opportunity to share their ideas and to hear from other countries' ideas. And then we managed to have a decision on what can we do together and how are we going to organize ourselves. It was very funny because when I mentioned that these meetings should be held at least 3 times per year, our member countries, our participants in this meeting said that why do we have to meet only 3 times? Can we meet more? Can we have more of these meetings? Can we see each other more? Because it's easier now when we have this technology, we can use it so we can hear each other and see each other more frequently. Of course, whenever you are, even in car, you can just switch the monitor on and you are at the meeting. So I think that we'll do more of these joint meetings with the regional advisory group this year.
We've actually had a great response to the first round of questions that we sent out to the advisors, and I'd just like to thank them all for their input. It really is enlightening to see and to read what their responses have been. The HAI has grown so much with the RPA program that another resource has been implemented. Mikhail, can you tell us what that is?
Of course. Regardless of whether the organization is legally mandated, it should have a document that clarifies organization's mission, goals, vision, values, roles, responsibilities, behaviors. And that is why HAI has established its code of conduct that outlines all of those positive features that should accompany the patient advocacy pathway. Advocacy journey is always full of challenges, full of doubts, full of obstacles, which is why it is so important to have a moral backbone to always put the patient's interest first. And the code of conduct is a kind of ideological collection that helps to develop desired attitudes. Patients first, improving their quality of life, honest, trustworthy, creativity, no preferences regarding pharmaceutical companies and treatment options are among the many guidelines that may become useful for HAI member organizations.
Thank you, Mikhail. HAI was always looking at the challenges that are out there and see what we can implement and how we can help. And HAI has come up with an innovative way to overcome a challenge in one of the countries in your region, Patricia. Can you tell us about the heat map pilot project?
Yes, Fiona. So the heat map pilot project came after we held our first HAE Doctors Awareness Seminar in Rwanda last year. And there was an overwhelming reaction amongst the doctors who decided to form a steering committee for HAE in their country. And amongst those doctors, there was a lead doctor who is also, who takes a lead also in research in Rwanda. And we discussed issues on probably coming up with a sort of a survey amongst the hospitals in Rwanda for us to be able to identify the gap as to why that there are no diagnosed HAE patients in Rwanda. This came about because after the seminar and the training that went on, they were able to somehow recall that sometime in their line of work, they have probably met 1 or 2 patients. So the heat map project is a good project that is going to solve a problem in Rwanda, whereby we'll be able to know where exactly the gaps are. Are they in the social health system? Is it amongst the knowledge amongst doctors? So once we identify the gap, then we will be able to provide the necessary resources that are needed to bridge the gap. So that is the HAE pilot project that's currently underway in Rwanda.
Thank you, Patricia. Natasha, you have been the RPA for the Southeastern Europe region now for a while. And with all the tools and the meetings and the work you've been doing in your region in the last 2 years, what has been the biggest change or improvement?
Well, it is a hard question to answer. What is the biggest and most important change that we accomplished? But I would say that the raised awareness among the general public, more people are aware that this kind of rare disease actually exists. And this doesn't happen on its own. So it took a lot of courage from many people, many individuals and groups that have decided to step out of their comfort zone. So they have given interviews in the media, in newspapers, on TV. They have recorded themselves and posted different stories on their social accounts. And this led to improvement in also in the knowledge, on the level of knowledge of physicians, who more and more are interested to first read and then join some of the initiatives and activities that are organized in order to learn more about HAE. But I would like to say that this year I'm very proud of one more patient group that was brave enough, and just before the closure of the borders and the closure of people inside their homes because of the pandemic, still managed to register their patient organization. So this is the organization in Croatia, HAE Croatia. They have organized a patient meeting and gathering together with their physicians on the Rare Disease Day on 29th of February, where they were able to elect the president. So Mihaela Šogorić is the president of HAE Croatia, who, with the assistance of the knowledgeable doctors and a very active patient group, managed to, to do the impossible for this country, because it is very wide and with different regions in which patients live. But she was able to invite them all at one spot and to meet and to discuss. And they have been successful in planning for future activities for this year. And believe me, not even pandemic, nothing is going to stop them. They have really surprising activities that are going on HAE Day, but I will not reveal them now because you can watch them on our social media for HAE.
That's a great result for a member organisation that's not really that old. I'm going to pose the final question now to you, Javier. With all the work that the RPAs do in their region, what do you like best about being an RPA?
Wow. I like to be an RPA because from my position, I can help HAE patients to understand how this disease works, how they can find some help, but how they can work together with other patients to work to found new treatments, new medicines for the disease. So, but most important for me is that show to them that they are not alone. We are here like as an international organization to support them.
I would like to thank all the RPAs for their valuable input and knowledge throughout this discussion. Thank you all for the incredible work that you're doing in your regions. There is no doubt that the RPA program is a valuable one for all member organisations and to support them. The skills and commitment you all bring to your region is really amazing. If there are any questions on anything we have discussed during this video, please contact your local member organisation or your RPA. And to those who have viewed the video, thank you for clicking and watching. Thank you.